Let's go. That's the energy. That's what I like. All right. So who am I? Who's the guy that's going to present about making music into a career today? My name is Christopher. I go by Dove online. And I've been making music for over 10 years now. So, I've been making music over 10 years. And I'll start with the beginning. What's the origin? I'll come up. The origin to how I got here. I play Guitar Hero. A very famous game, right? And I got addicted. You know, like with many video games, I got addicted to it. But more so than just the game itself, I loved the image of the rock stars. You know, I loved seeing them pull off these solos, even though I was clicking the buttons, it wasn't quite what I wanted. You know, I wanted something more. I wanted to be the one writing these solos. I wanted to be the one on stage for this crowd, you know, that I saw on screen. So I told my parents, I was like, yo, can I have an electrical guitar? And they told me back, no. You get things, you use them for 2 weeks, and then you don't use them. You cannot have an electrical guitar. And most kids, you know, if they didn't care enough about it, they just quit. They just be like, okay, and then move on to the next thing. I kept asking. And it took an entire year of asking. But for Christmas 2015, I got finally an amp with a guitar. It was a bad one, but I loved that. I loved that guitar to death. And it got so much play. You know, every day I would just be excited to come home to play on this guitar. And that's my origin of how I started this journey. Now, since then, I've played shows for over hundreds of people in the crowd, and I've made songs with some of my biggest idols in music, and I've just had such a nice experience with it. And that's why I'm doing this today for you. Because if you have even an ounce of the enjoyment and fulfillment I gain out of this from music, it's going to be worth it, you know? So with that said, let's get into how you can make music into a career. Habit for success. The greatest habit for success is to create a habit. Me, personally, I'm just going to go through my habit. Every day in the morning, I get up and I work on music. It's the first thing I do because your mind is reset. You don't have anything that's bugging you. You don't have anything in the back of your head like, oh, if you watch TikTok and stuff, maybe there's a video that's just in your mind. You know, you have different inspirations and images in your head already planted, but when you wake up, you're refreshed. You're just an empty canvas, and you will use inspiration that you've gotten from earlier, from listening to music, from maybe creating music yourself from last week, but you won't think about it. That's the thing. If I, for example, I listen to music, I love it, and then go to create a song, more often than not, it will not be that original. But if I listen to a song, I study it, and then the next day I wake up and create something, it will have inspiration from that, yes. It will also have a bunch of other inspiration, and it's effortless, because I don't even think about creating these inspirations in mind. And so what I tell you is if you can, every morning, before work or school, what you do, have a little bit of time. It can be only 5 minutes. And if you can't do it in the morning, you want to get to sleep, it can be on the bus. 5 minutes to sit down, create melodies in your mind, try to come up with lyrics. You don't have to write all of them down. Just do something music related that's in the creative category, right? Not in the listen. Listening is super good, you know, but it has to be in the creative way. You can create by listening, but that is, you listen to a song and you think, what do I love about this song? What about this would I like to recreate? That is a creative way of thinking. It can't be passive. Okay? At least 5 minutes every day. Biggest, if you take anything away from this, this is the way to make this a career. Yeah? Next up, this is the boring part. This is the career side of things, but it's what I'm having a presentation about, so it's important. Right? TikTok. If you are able to create TikTok content, you are ahead of everyone. If you can master that, I've seen friends just blow up overnight. It's magic. It's really for us independent artists, and we should use it in every way we can. Personally, I don't use TikTok. Oh, we take questions after. Thank you, Doc. Personally, I don't like short form content. It's when I make it, I don't really feel content afterwards. I don't feel happy with what I've created. If I make something that's a bit longer form, like even 2 minutes, then I'm probably more often than not very proud with what I do. But short, it's just not for me, right? But if you can find a way to enjoy the process of creating short form content, do it, because it's today's generation, you know? It's a great way. But then you might be wondering, how do I do it? How did I get people following me if I didn't use TikTok or Instagram Reels or so on? I do the socializing aspect. I try to talk to anyone in the genre, artist or fan, about the genre. I go into Instagram accounts, for example, with an artist I love, and I try to find people in the comments that really just adore this artist, that show that they're dedicated. And if they are, I'd love to just hit them up and just talk. Just, what do you love about this artist? What's your favorite song? And if you keep doing that, people that like this kind of vibe that you're creating, they're gonna find your stuff too. You know, they're slowly gonna befriend you, and you should never go into it with the mindset, look at me. You should never, even on TikTok, you should never post a video that's just like, oh, listen to my new song, go stream my new song. No one wants to do that. What you have to do is you have to create content with them as the target. They have to feel like the main character in the story. It should be something that they can relate to their day-to-day, like, oh, how you feel on Friday nights, and then it's your song in the back and some visuals or something. It has to be for, you know, you have to take and give. You have to give for them to be able to take. It should be them in focus, not you. It shouldn't be look at me. It should be look at you with my music as the background. My music, because what you want to be to have this as a career is just a theme song or a background song for someone's life. You know, when they want to feel a certain way, they use music. You can be that outlet for them. So go in for that, right? Give. Same with the DMs. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Put them as the main character. And then if they befriend you, right? Which the goal should just be to connect and socialize in the beginning. And then if they like your music, which they probably might do because they follow an artist very similar to you, then there we go. We got a fan. You keep doing this, you'll slowly start building up a fan base. And with that fan base, you can take it many places. You can choose YouTube, you can choose TikTok, whatever, but just having that small, loyal fan base. And really, the loyal beginning fan base you will only get through speaking and socializing and being there for them. It's very rare that you just find an artist that's super small and it just clicks, right? But it can happen. But get their attention and put your attention on them, not try to grab it. Try to give attention and then you might receive. Okay? And listen, it's going to be tough. Like 70% of the DMs you send out are not going to be answered. And it can feel daunting. But this is how I've worked with some of my favorite artists. I just sent out a message. It just led to us talking for hours. And then suddenly they're like, oh, you want to make a song? And then we make a song. Right? So always be out there. Always go to venues if they're playing. Go to anything you can, really, with the genre in mind, what you have in mind. All right. I'll say put yourself out there. Freestyle versus rhythm. A lot of you guys are going to get this. I don't rap. What is freestyle? Get that out of here. What? I, personally, when I used to play guitar, I would improvise. I would jam. I would do a lot of things that I now call freestyle. Why do I call them freestyle? Well, obviously I took it from rap, but I like the word so much because it's free style. You know, it's something free. It's not something that you can sit and think about too much. It's something that's on the spot, and just, you have to get it out. And why I personally advise anyone in any genre to practice this, and it doesn't have to be words, it can be melodies, it can be whatever you're doing, right? If it's production, right, you can come up with drum patterns in your head. If you're doing pop singing, you can come up with lyrics for the pop song. And if you are able to come up with that on the spot, you are gonna have such an easy time when you actually sit down. I promise. Like, these two work together so well because of the fact that while writing, you gain a lot of insight into what kind of songs you want to make and how you want to make them. But while freestyling, you will get into the flow state. And the flow state is something that is hyper necessary when you want to write music without hating it, basically. Because if you know, okay, when you freestyle, you can't be critical. If you're critical of yourself while freestyling, you'll stop. You'll be like, oh, that was cringe, oh, that was bad, and then just stop talking, right? But if you get good at it, you will notice that you say things that you don't agree with, but you will just keep going. And that's how we should write music too. We should just go and just write, and then after go back and be like, okay, I didn't like that. But that, you should not be critical while creating art. That will make it so much harder, so much more of a just bother, you know, and we want to enjoy this. We want to have a free space to express ourselves. So these two, big recommend, whatever genre you're doing, go with both. Same whack shit. What the fuck did he paint? I do not know what he painted there, right? But that doesn't matter, because he was proud. He's like, yeah, I did that, you know? He's proud of what he created, and that's the best mentality to have. And it's so hard for artists, you know? She painted that, she doesn't look happy. She's like, I'm gonna quit tomorrow. But we don't want that, okay? We don't. And so, for me to be able to create what I do today, I had to say the stuff I said in 2016, you know? I had to write the bad songs. I had to go through it, you know? You can't start off great. You can't be great if you don't start, you know? So let yourself start. Let yourself be down there. And then you eventually get to a point where you are happy with what you do. But my biggest advice on this point is, when you create something, as an artist, it's so natural to be critical. You're probably always going to be critical. But instead of focusing on what you don't like, because some music teachers and stuff, they say, oh, focus on what you don't like, and you'll become better. That's not how it works. You know, that's how you get yourself burned out and depressed. What I say is, focus on what you do like. Focus on, okay, so you made a song. There's a lot of shit you hate, but there's some parts that stick out. There's always going to be, because you created this song. It came from you. That means that it's going to be a lot of it that you do like. Otherwise, you wouldn't have written it. I promise. You wouldn't have written it unless it came from a part that you like. So focus on these good parts and try to just push them up, right? The more you take your good parts and focus on them, you create a unique style. You create a style that you're proud of. A style that makes you, you. So focus on the good ones. Don't try to focus on the negatives. They will remove with time. Subconsciously, you will stop doing the things that annoy you. It's not something you have to think about. Okay? Say wax it. And what tools do I use? What tools I recommend? YouTube, the greatest way to practice any instrument, any songwriting. YouTube has an infinite amount of instrumentals of any genre. Okay? It's got pop, it's got emo, it's got rock, it's got anything that you're searching for. If you want to fully focus on one part of the songwriting aspects, which I recommend, by the way. I do not recommend going, oh, I'm going to produce, and then I'm going to mix, and then I'm going to write, and then I'm going to record. You try to take one at a time. This is how you maximize how good you become at it, right? So go on YouTube, find an instrumental for the genre you make, okay? find that instrumental, and then start coming up with lyrics and melodies over that. And this is a great way to just quickly get good, because you will only be spending your time on the songwriting process. And once you've done that for a while, maybe you can switch to, oh, I'm going to produce only for 2 months. You know? Because me, I did not start off with producing. I do it now, but it took years. It took years of just focusing on, okay, now I'm going to write a month, and then, oh, I'm going to record for a month. So when I write, I just focus on writing. When I record, I just focus on sounding as good as I can, saying stuff that I wrote down. And another month, I might focus on freestyling. How can I get out my ideas as fast as possible with no filter? You know, and doing all of these one at a time, super good. And YouTube is a great way to find out about all of it, right? Just don't get stuck in the tutorial purgatory, because I know a lot of people, they just like, how to get good at singing, and then they look at 100 videos on that, but that's not gonna make you better, right? Watch maybe one video on how to get good at singing, and then you can sing for 15 days, and then make another video. But don't do it, oh, I'm gonna watch YouTube today, and tomorrow, and that's gonna help you. It's not gonna help you, all right? It's the creating that's gonna help you. So 1 or 2 tutorials, that's fine, but then leave that alone for at least a month and just work with what you got, because I know you got enough already. You don't need more, even though all of these thumbnails and titles are gonna tell you, oh, what you need to become a musician. No. You don't need anything but the things you already have, right? You don't even need a DAW. You don't need anything on your computer. You can literally write a song, just record it on your phone, and send it out to the internet. That's how good we have it right now. And so you have enough. Okay? You can take steps, but don't get too hyper fixated on trying to become better by listening to tutorials and stuff, right? You're listening to one now. Don't go on YouTube after this and be like, I'm gonna listen to more, okay? Take it and just let it sink in. Naked. Always changing. You are always, as an artist, you know, it can be any art form. You're always going to change. And the important thing here is that you let yourself change. Because I know some artists that they get a fan base, they get big doing one thing, and they keep doing that thing even though they realize that they're not enjoying it like they used to. But they have to push the same sound because they feel like their fans are going to leave them if they don't. They burn out. 99% of the time they burn out because they're not doing what they actually want. And then they take breaks. They take a year off or so on. You know, kill their own momentum. So what I say is, let yourself be curious. Let yourself go for the new genres. If you hear an artist that you love, let yourself change to that, because you're never going to know who you are as a person first and foremost, or an artist. You're always going to be changing. Like today I could be feeling one thing, tomorrow a completely different thing, right? And so with that said, you don't have to release all the music you make. I let myself create genres of music that I don't let anyone hear, and that's fine. That's good. That lets me just express myself. You know, that's not a failure. That's you doing what is necessary to keep your inspiration and heart alive. Okay? This guy right here, he was known as Filthy Frank, one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, and you know, he had a stable career. He made a ton of money, people loved him, he did not have to change anything. He really didn't. But he had a calling. He felt, I want to make sad pop music. I want to become Joji. And he actually tried. He made a video saying that he wanted to try to do more real stuff. His fans just did not accept it. They just spammed his comment section. You know, they were so mad. They were like, no, this is bad. This is not you. You need to be funny. You need to be Filthy Frank. Right? Most people, they would just delete that video. He did, by the way, deleted the video. And then they would just keep doing what they were doing. Not this guy. He chose to stop completely. He didn't delete his other videos. He just stopped uploading, took a break, went fully into music, and now he's bigger than he's ever been. Right? And that's because he was brave enough to follow his heart, follow his curiosity. So this is something that all artists should just go live by this. Whatever you're doing, let yourself do that. Let yourself feel that. Because that's how you're going to keep creating good, unique art. With that said, do we have any questions? Yes, you.
How important do you think it is to stick to a genre within each piece of work, like each EP, album, whatever, or even within each song? Or like, can you kind of talk about and do whatever and mix genres? Like, will that not work, you think? Or will it work?
Thank you for that question. That's a great one. I would say like this. The thing that's mostly worked for artists previously, it's that in one album, they try to just stick to one genre or one mix of genres, right? One sound. So if you're able to create one album with that sound, and I'm not saying don't try to experiment on the side, definitely do that. Experiment with stuff on the side. But for this one album, make it just one sound, one experience. And that sound can be happy and sad and can go up and down, but it should still have an identity. And then for your next album, you can switch up as much as you want, but each one should have one feeling, if that makes sense. Thank you. Yes, you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Up there.
What are some of the best programs or things to use for recording?
Thank you. FL Studio is the best, in my opinion, DAW for recording on computer. Phone, use BandLab. So BandLab. The phone one is so good because it's got a very big community for phone, because it doesn't exist on computer, I'm pretty sure. Okay, there is one, but it's not as good. The phone community is really big though on BandLab. So many tutorials on it, whatever. FL Studio, it's the most used DAW on computers. And that's why I would recommend that one. More tutorials, even though you shouldn't get stuck on them, than anything else. And so if you get stuck on anything with FL, the community is huge. You'll have an answer that quick. So FL Studio for PC, BandLab for mobile. Thank you. Now you can go.
Yes. You mentioned that we should try create content. I have a very I'm struggling with content. I don't understand what is it, how do I create it, how should I know people said to me how to think to create it, but I still find it hard to like put myself into it.
So you create music, right?
Yes,
And you try to make something visual for the audience.
Well, something similar, but I just don't get the thing with as I said, concept. I don't get how am I supposed to do that.
Yeah, the content for Instagram, TikTok, and so on.
Yeah.
Great question. Thank you. I would say this varies from genre to genre. What genre do you make?
I don't know.
You don't know. You can't define the genre.
The thing is, I experimenting by Swedish gangster music.
Yeah.
And then I go to like R&B. Oh my God, I love Beyonce. And then I switch back to but you know what? I love Adele, the sad feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a mix. I don't know what I don't know what I want.
Yeah. I would say this is really hard. Just like you're saying, finding a content that's tailored for your genre, it is tough. It is very tough. And it's something that you're never going to stop struggling with because it's so hard, right? And that's why I usually stick to the socializing part and just like hitting up, go into, maybe not Beyonce, that's too big of an artist, but go with someone who sounds like Beyonce's comment section and find people that enjoy that and try to build that way. Because content-wise, I can't give too much, right?
Do you have someone you following that you can like study how they do it? I don't know.
I I'm a different genre than you. I do dark tracks. I don't think
Oh,
that will correlate. But find people that are smaller. Find people that are around, 10,000, 20,000 monthly on Spotify. And this is something, Spotify is great at this actually. If you find one artist, so just search like underground R&B or underground gangster, if you want to do that. Find playlists on Spotify. Dope. Once you find an artist and actually press them, there are more artists like this tab. And so once you find one small R&B sounding artist, you can very quickly find other ones like it. And just follow these guys, send them a message, look in their comments, see if they are fans, send the most loyal fans, ask them about things. And this way, they can start.
Maybe I can find content like this.
Yeah, maybe. So thank you for that question and good luck with that. Yes.
I was wondering, have you ever been in a situation where you want to start making music in a different genre, but sometimes you fall into your old patterns with creating music?
So old patterns, what do you mean?
Like, let's say you want to create things in a different genre, but you're not used to it, so you kind of notice that you fall into your old kind of habits. Is that something you experience?
Thank you for that question. Definitely. Definitely. But I actually see it as a strength. Because, like you said about mixing genres, because I am mainly based in metal and rap, when I do things like acoustic storytelling tracks, which I really like, little haunting melodies and cozy stuff, I feel that some metal elements and rap elements go through in it. But instead of shutting it out and trying to get rid of it, I try to embrace it because that's so me, because I've done it for so long that I see it and I acknowledge it and I'm like, actually, I'm gonna keep that because it becomes something new through that. So yes, definitely I see it, but I accept it. I've come to the realization that I want it to stay because that's so me now. So yeah, thank you. Yes.
I really like creating just whatever is in my head at the moment, but then I get kind of frightened with things like music theory and more like factual stuff, how you are supposed to do music that is actually good in terms of professional music industry. How do you balance that, your own fantasy and what you like versus what is proper, so to speak?
Thank you for that question. I'll tell you, don't care. Don't like completely the music theory and stuff. You should not care about that. It is, I went to music school and stuff, I learned it, I barely use. Okay, I barely do. Learn the basics, like they're just rudimental stuff, like what a scale is, what sounds good together. But after that, I want you to just go straight into what feels good, right? What is the artist that you're listening to? What drives you towards them? That's what's important, that feeling. Because it doesn't tell you too much, oh, this note sounds good with that one. Okay, but then we have things like going out of the scale, and that's still something super dope, because there's so much in music it's really magic, right? Like, we can't explain why a melody sounds good. It just does. So even though they're like, oh, technically, the scale is all in the same pitch, just go. Just create stuff and listen to what sounds good to you. And once you hear that it sounds good, that's all that matters. Because there are going to be so many people out there that think like you, right? There's so many people that are going to hear the same melody and be like, that's fine. So don't overthink that, please. Thank you. And I feel that. I've been there. I have. Yeah. James.
I mean, in every creative community and kind of industry, there are maybe like scams or people that maybe don't have the best in mind for maybe smaller artists or people that are really trying. So, what is, as somebody who came up from the top or like from the bottom up, what is like something that you would be like, don't fall for this, or like, don't let this kind of person like take advantage or say things, or what is like kind of a look out, if you know what I mean?
Thank you. Do you guys know who Young Gravy is? Young Gravy? No? Sort of? His manager scammed me. No cap. His manager scammed me. I'm so happy. I've finally been able to tell it to people. This was a perfect question for me to actually get that off my chest. Bro, the music industry is so shady. It is so bad. So what you have to learn is don't trust anyone. People do not have your best interest in mind, right? Labels will hit you up when you start coming up. They're gonna have shitty deals. They're gonna have small writings in the agreements that try to mess with you, you know? They do not want you, the only care they think about, right? The only thing they care about, that's English, is getting money. They're a company, so obviously that's what they want. So never get buddy-buddy with managers or labels or whatever. What you need to do is you need to get independently, like I would recommend, try to independently, through TikTok or things like that, get to a point where these labels, you can tell them. You can be like, yeah, no, this is the deal I want. And they'll just give it to you, right? That's the leg up you want in this game. Because if you don't have that, I know artists that have gotten signed, like this amazing singer, right? He got signed. He got famous on Instagram Reels, actually. He would play his guitar and just do covers of songs. He got signed. He dropped an album with them. It didn't do that great. So they said, you know what, this artist, he's not making us enough money. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep him signed to us. You know? So he cannot release anything, because he's signed to us. If he has to drop something, it has to go through us. We're just gonna let his agreement run out. They just kept him on their label, but they did not allow him to do anything for 2 years. So it is messed up. This industry is not. Everything it's done for me, I've gotten scammed so many times too, right? So you have to just look at things with a critical eye, always, okay? Never think that if things are too good to be true, they are, all right? Keep that in mind, all right? Thank you for that question.
When you create music, are you creating at your home? Do you do it in the studio? Do you text someone to come and you do it together? If you do it alone, how do you not feel lonely in your journey?
Thank you. I would say like this, I've been in bands. I have been in the same studio as producers, worked alongside them, all that. Personally, that does not work. I am very much someone who likes to have creative control over everything. I want to really feel like I am the one that can, I just do what I want without having to answer things. When you're a band, there's so many different thoughts and feelings that all collide, and they're all like, oh, I want to do this sound, and I want to do that, and that's beautiful. It can really be beautiful, but it's hard. It's really hard. And that's why so many bands split up. So if you're able to, I would recommend getting into the habit of doing it alone and being able to do it alone. Because that's how you quickest get better, right? In a band, everyone works on their own, right? Everyone works on their own, they learn the song, and then they come together, and they're amazing together, and then they go off, they practice alone and stuff, and then they come together, right? Everyone knows the song once it's time to jam the song together. Then it's just the chemistry. So, the easiest thing is doing it alone, right? And you don't have to do everything alone. You can take production, you can lease production from internet, and
How do you not be lonely then?
I don't know, man, but it's necessary. It's necessary if you're gonna be a lonely musician, You just gotta get in the song,
It's
The truth hurts. I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, yes, of course.
Do you ever do any collaborations with other smaller or just artists? And if so, how do you navigate that kind of collaboration?
So, I actually, in the beginning, it was only for love. And it's still, if someone sounds amazing, I'll just freaking, let's make a song, you know, every time. Because I'm still someone who loves music. And as someone who loves music, it's always gonna drive me, you know, the passion for it is what drives me. So if something sounds good enough, I'm just on it straight away. But as you get more popular, there's going to be a lot of people who want to make songs with you. And at that point, you have to be like, okay, I gotta take a step back, and now you have to start charging a little bit, you know? And do I charge people who are amazing? No. But most people aren't, like, you know, they haven't gone through that, they haven't worked for 10 years in music, right? So it's fine, you know, they can be a little rusty, but then I want a little compensation, right? And so with mainly of the smaller artists, I ask for a little sum of money, but then obviously I'll give them tips and I'll be there and whatever. But I want them all to succeed. If they're amazing, I'll work for free. If not, a little bit of money. You know, so that's how I navigate that. But mainly, I love doing it for free. But if it isn't that good, you know, give me some money.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, go ahead.
Have you ever had a situation where you did collaborate with someone for free, but then like the connection just wasn't there and the music failed to be produced in a way? Have you ever been in such a situation where you just don't agree with each other?
Every time.
Every time.
Every time, almost every time I'll let you know. It is like 3-4 songs where I'm actually, like till this day, it's like 3-4 songs that I'm like, we both found one emotion and we went for that emotion and it became a coherent song. Every time else, I listen to the song and I'm like, you know, I hear what it is, but it's not how I envision it. And that's my creative control again. That's my creative control. So, for me personally, it's really hard to work with people because I'm always like, I wish you just did it this way differently. But, one time I actually was like, could you do this, and I told him exactly what I wanted done. He did it that way, and I was so happy with it. Like, he went beyond what I was expecting. So it's a beautiful thing, but it's very hard to traverse. And so what I tell you is just, sometimes we gotta work with people and be like, I didn't quite like how it turned out, but it is what it is, and just drop it anyway, because sometimes the relationship with artists, it's not worth tarnishing just because you dislike what they did, right? That's what I'd say, so thank you. Okay, this is going to be the last question I'm thinking. The last question, yeah. The pressure.
Yeah, actually.
You gotta have a good revival.
Let me whatever. I want to ask you, are you doing like, what is it called? You know, you travel around and you put
Tour.
Yes, tour.
Ooh, tour.
Sorry, I forgot the word in my brain. It's like erased.
That's all good. That is something I've been wanting to do, and it's also something that is so hard to do, you know, because you have to hit up all these bars or the venues and so on. But, you know, it's something I've learned, because I've done it in Sweden. I've played in Norrköping, I've played in Linköping, I've played in Stockholm. And so, it is definitely something that's very possible. But, you know, I've said the habit thing, that every day I want to do music. The touring thing is scary, because if I go out of my head, what is that?
The habit get killed.
Maybe, that's the thing. And so I am afraid that traveling too much can interfere with the actual creation of the music, which is what I love the most. Creating is the thing I do not want to lose. So my goal right now is to book some small venues in Sweden. So it's just close. I can just go, play a show, get back home and get straight to it. I'm not a big traveling guy, but if I grow, obviously, that's probably a really good idea for money, because money is hard in the music game, but that is a great way to earn revenue, right? Playing shows, selling merch, it's great. You know?
Can I ask for a follow-up?
All right, this is the final one.
How do you convince people to let you sing in their club or whatever? You just give them your phone and be like, this is my
I would say starting with open mics or festivals is the easiest way. open mics at festivals, they're searching for people. As long as you do it in good time, they'll probably have a spot open for you. But bars and so on, especially for the genre I'm creating, which is dark trap, it is basically impossible. No bar wants someone playing their original stuff, especially if it's of the harder type, you know, of the more aggressive. And so, if you want to play bars and so on, which I would recommend, I've done it with bands, learn songs everyone knows. You know, learn Wonderwall. You know, that's what they want. That's what bars want. They just want someone playing in the background stuff that everyone knows. And yeah, that's a great way to get started playing live. But your own music, they're not gonna want that until you get bigger. Like bars and stuff, they just want stuff.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that said, guys, I'm Dove, and thank you all so much for putting up. It's been really fun. If you're creating music or just want to come talk to me, come through. I'll follow your Instagram. And yeah, peace.